imagine you have this X here. Let's say we take a mid laner. You have your laning phase, you have your side laning, and you have your mid game planning. Let's say your mid game planning is 10%, your side laning is 50%, and your laning phase is like 80%. And if this is the things that you focus on, you should focus on mid game, because that's where you will get the most reward the fastest possible way, because it's what you're weakest at. Today we're gonna focus on something I haven't talked about much, but it has to be talked about. How to track your improvement, because it's not as simple as just, okay, I'm just gonna think about how to improve and like move from there. I'm gonna walk you over a couple of sheets that I've made, and I'm gonna talk about just specifically what makes a good goal, how you track your goal, what's a bad goal, and why having a sheet that automates for you is so important. Because if improvement doesn't feel rewarding, you're not going to keep it up, and if you're not going to keep it up, what's the point? So first, let's go over a sheet of a student of mine called Max. If you look at this sheet, you don't feel great. It doesn't feel rewarding for the eyes, and you're gonna have to put everything yourself. And in this sheet, there's just too much going on. Like you have date, mentality, intensity, performance, matchup, laning, focus, matchup takeaways, your conclusion after the game, what did you learn, win, loss, goal. The problem with this is that you don't know what you learn, because you haven't focused on anything. Therefore, you don't know if you're learning or not. This is a challenger student of mine called Quest. These are some of his goals: communication goal, planning goal, and map awareness. And then, because he has a bit of a TikTok brain, no TikTok socials in game. If the goal is linear, if the goal is a standard goal, it's green. If it's a mini goal, it's orange. And if it's our main goal, our biggest weakness, it is red. Because that is what we have to focus on the most. When it comes to tracking, you should be tracking your goals. You should not be tracking whatever happens in the game, because you have no control over that. But if you have something that you're focusing on when you're playing, it makes it way easier to track. So let's look at some of his solo queue. This is the sheet that I use to track with my students that I have made based off a lot of years of experience, to figure out how I can actually make my students track and it feels rewarding. It doesn't feel like a chore, because that is the overall most important goal for me, is that my students do not feel like it's a chore to track. They feel like it's just second nature to them. It's what they want to do, because it feels rewarding. It feels empowering when you're focusing on your goals and you see the reward come after like a continuous time of focusing on it. Let's look. This is the reflections on the goal, the date, what champ you played, what you played against, the result, and the mood. This is it. This is the only thing that's important to me. What did you play? The date, to see how many games you've been tracking, whatnot, staying consistent, what you're playing against, the result, and the mood. The reason why mood is important is because if you're continuously bad mood, there's something that you need to figure out. It might be real life, you might have some struggles there, it might be game related, you feel like you just aren't present. You have to figure out why, because if you have bad mood when you're playing, you shouldn't be playing. There's no point, because you're not going to be focused at all. You're not going to want to play, because there's something that you got to figure out and you got to take care of in your life or game related. So when we track goals, what do? We write down our goals that we have already set together, which is communication, planning, map awareness. What do? Communication, what's next, which is our planning goal, mid-game guidebook, and tempo. That's it. That's it. It does not have to be complicated to review. It should be rewarding, it should be fast, and it should be clear. Let's take another one, just as a reference point. This is Dirt. Shout out to Dirt. Same thing. What do we have as goals? We have what's next, which is a planning goal, the mid-game guidebook, which is also a planning goal, and item power spikes, fighting on spikes. When we track, what do we see? We see what's next, we see mid-game guidebook, and we see item power spike fight. When you track your goals, it's important to understand that you don't have to track everything. Okay? You don't have to track everything. You just have to track something. If you track, let's say, 2 points in mid-game guidebook, you're still improving on it. You don't have to focus on improvement points, item power spike, mid-game guidebook, what's next, just bite-sized. So this brings me to my own sheet. I'm doing currently unranked to master on Yasuo, because it's a champion I always wanted to master, and I wanted to show to you guys that it's possible to do anything if you put the right methods in place. So my own goals on Yasuo: my lane opener, what's next, play, reset, play, team fighting. Play, reset, play, for the people that do not understand, just means make a play, take a reset, and play again. Because if you play, then you will sit with a lot of gold and you will not be as strong as you should be, and that is a very important solo queue. So let's look at our let's look at my sheet. So I track my goals. Lane opener, what's next? Yasuo micro, teamfighting improvement points. I realized that it's too much for me. It's too much. There's too much for me to do and it doesn't feel rewarding. So what I did instead of dropping my sheet is taking it down a notch. So what have I done lately? Lane macro, lane micro, and what's next? Teamfighting and general notes. So I just notched it down a bit because it was too much for me. And I couldn't, I looked at my sheet, I was already bored. If you look at your sheet and you're already bored, something's wrong and something needs to change. Okay, that's a good indicator. So that's what I've been doing lately. Lane opener, mid game, and for the people that don't understand lane opener and whatnot, just ask questions and I will provide. Okay, so that's how you make a sheet. That's how you improve on it. This template you can buy on Patreon, okay? The link will be below. Now let's talk a bit about what bad goals are. If you make a bad goal, it's get to Challenger. Because this goal ends when you're Challenger, so it stops motivating you. It's very important that you have a goal that you can always track and you can always keep tab on. It's important that you have an ultimate goal, something that you're striving for. So for example, the ultimate goal with Quest is getting rank 1. Anyone who's telling you they don't want to get Challenger, rank 1, whatnot, are lying to you. It's important to have something to motivate for, but it should not be the main thing that's always on your mind, because you're losing a lot of details if you have this in your mind. 1, you have to analyze your own gameplay from a non-biased opinion. It's never going to be possible for you to be fully unbiased, but you have to try and be unbiased. Watch this person as if it's another person and figure out if you see some patterns or something to improve on. The other thing you can do is get coaching, because you know that the coach is going to be unbiased. Obviously it will have to be a coach that you think is good. It doesn't have to be me, but it can be anyone that you think is good. Through that, you have to understand your strengths and weaknesses. It's important that you keep your strengths strong, but it's very important that you work on your biggest weaknesses, because imagine you have this axe here. Let's say we take a mid laner. You have your laning phase, you have your side laning, and you have your mid game planning. Let's say your mid game planning is 10%, your side laning is 50%, and your laning phase is like 80%. And if this is the things that you focus on, you should focus on mid game, because that's where you will get the most reward the fastest possible way, because it's what you're weakest at. When it comes to tracking, it should always be that tracking feels rewarding. So for example with this sheet, but the reason why I'm showing this sheet is because either you buy it and it's good for me, or you make it and you're gonna want to do it because you put in the effort. So let's say here, the first thing that's important is automate as much as possible. Tracking. Here, you can click the date and it changes the date for you. That makes it very easy, very nice. Here, you put a champion. Let's say we put Rakan. You just write R, it comes forward. Let's say you want to put Alistar. 2 letters, Alistar pops up. Perfect. Win, loss, bad, whatever. It takes care of it for you. So automate as much as possible and make it feel rewarding when you're tracking. If it isn't feeling rewarding, it isn't the right method for you. And you have to figure out a way that works for you. Because tracking is the #1 thing to improve. Working on something is the #1 way to improve. If you want to get Challenger but you don't have a road to get there, you will not assure the road. You will not assure the walk. Therefore, track, guys. It's important. Understand how to get better and understand how to work on goals. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions and whatnot. And I appreciate you.